thing of making sure that we are live. As Twitch is like, no, you should watch this other random dude. Like, no.
There we go.
That's not it. No, why are you thinking that I want to watch this random dude? I don't want to watch this random dude.
On this episode of Animesplaining, everyone got haircuts. Enter the haircut verse.
I didn't get a haircut, and if you say that I did, I'm going to deny you.
I get yelled at, so I was made to get one.
Well, you get free haircuts.
Costs only my self-esteem and my self-worth.
We're all Natalie Portman in a beautiful vendetta.
Come on. I just need to see that, like, there is actually a picture that is broadcasting, because Twitch is garbage. So...
Again, I just saw the one video of, like, that college football streamer that puts his, like, little projects out. God damn it. Just play that game on Twitch online and just try to gain the following this kid does.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I don't. I mean, he's been playing this game for... I mean, he was playing college football 14 for so long, he gained the following through that. And now, but he's like, God, 22 years old. Old genius.
Brilliant bastards.
And sorry, every time I go to the live stream, it's like a blank screen, but on the other hand, it's like actually live, so it's being really funky with me.
So they're hearing us, but it's a blank screen.
What was that?
I will say.
So they're hearing us, but it's a blank screen. What are you saying? Like, we're live, but it's a blank screen?
That's so. On one end, it looks like it's just a blank screen. But if I go to the stream manager, it shows a not blank screen. So I just need to get onto the feed that actually shows the stream as it is, and for some reason it really wants me to watch Sliggy TV. I don't know who this is, and I hate him.
Just by his name alone.
It's like, no,
didn't predict influencers.
Give me the one live feed that I have, please. It's all that this needs to give me.
See, you guys are gonna get there. This is 40. All the crow's feet right in their side there.
I can't even see what you're talking about, you friggin' liar.
I have a face like an 8-year-old, so...
If it happens while you're smiling, it doesn't count. It's just regular smiling.
I'm going to live forever.
If you're sternly serious...
I hope you do. I really do. Tony Pecoraro cynicism through the 23rd century. You wake up one day in the Dune universe.
Oh, I
did watch Dune Prophecy, by the way.
Is it good?
Weird.
It's
not bad. Weird. Definitely not Penguin. Penguin's way better, but I mean,
right.
That was expected.
So why aren't the Harkonnens all white?
Because it's sort of an origin. It's 1,000 years before Paul Atreides was even born.
It basically takes place right after the jihad, the war against the war against machines. It's like what is it like?
We actually get to see the machines they fought in this, so
but
it might as well be a different show. It'll be a different universe. It's so different.
Yeah, you can tell like Herbert doesn't have the imagination, at least as probably his dad did. He's like, oh, who should be the origin of the Bene Gesserit? You know, the evil witch clan? Oh yeah, Harkonnen. Okay.
Not just that, but even if you're someone who doesn't like the movies, at least it has Denis Villeneuve's visual appeal. Like they're beautiful movies to watch, even if the sound off. And now seeing it like the HBO TV version, like, oh, this is kind of boring. This is just Raised by Wolves. It's Raised by Wolves meets Game of Thrones.
It definitely had a Game of Thrones vibe because you definitely get like the competing for the throne, or at least like for the power behind the throne.
So and there's way more talking, and there's way more sexy time, and it's like, you guys didn't even watch the movie, did you? This is what you think the movie should be about. But it's nothing like the movie.
Really just, I mean, Tony, do you mind spoilers?
No, I'm not going to watch this show because I hate Dune.
Oh, there you go.
But
this is a show that makes me understand why you hate Dune.
Game of Thrones peak moment during the pilot episode is, of course, Jaime pushing out Bran.
Yeah.
The tower, right? Like how? Oh my God, they hurt a kid. Like what are they going to do?
Oh, so
Dune takes it a step further, and they burn a kid to death on screen with mind power.
It's like, we got to kill a kid. You.
I don't know how the mind power suddenly happens, but okay.
I was going to say Game of Thrones burned a kid too, but that was off screen.
Yeah, that was like season
4.
It's when Theon takes over Winterfell, and he burns the.
Well, so multiple kids are burned because Theon Greyjoy burned some kids, and what's his face, the other Baratheon, not the fancy Baratheon, and not big dies in season 1 Baratheon, the one who
the lizard kid.
Yeah.
The kid has like lizard skin, and he's like trying to cure, and then he just burns her alive.
Yeah.
The witch burned him too.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then you hear her screaming. That's
right. Yeah.
But you don't see it on screen. This one, they show like the little like burn marks coming. It was like, and he just starts screaming at the. All right. You have to explain to me. This is supposed to be before humanity has kind of evolved into like the ultra mind beings that we've become.
Yeah.
But so like, suddenly this dude has mind powers that can burn a kid alive. So.
Well, we are running, which is fortunate. We've been running this entire time, so.
Oh, so you can hear me criticizing Dune. You're welcome.
Good.
It's worth the criticism.
Yep, I don't like Dune either. So well, let's all together hate Dune.
No, we don't hate it. I was entertained by it. I'm just saying it wasn't what I expected. But I don't know what I expected from like the lower tier spin-offs of Dune.
I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, so it's just Game of Thrones in space, and Dune itself is just Game of Thrones in space. So
no, Dune is Star Wars.
Star Wars in space.
What if Star Wars was in space?
And what if the cops were on Earth? So welcome everyone to Animesplaining. We are finally done with Ghost in the Shell standalone complex until we're not, and we end up watching season 2. But we won't watch season 2 for at least a little bit.
Thank you.
What age was this show designed for? Like, that was more complex than a Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan should absolutely direct Ghost in the Shell.
Like, there was a Dev Patel movie you told me I should watch because you said the movie is, like, smarter than I'm going to be. So, like, and, like, that's what I felt kind of like watching. I'm like, this show, like, I feel is just right over my head.
It's not even that smart. It's a bunch of serious characters saying things in a serious tone, so it looks and sounds smarter than it actually is. And most of the time, most of these plots go nowhere.
Yeah, in watching it, it reminded me a lot of The Newsroom, except with action. The Newsroom, when it's being self-important, just like any other Aaron Sorkin thing is, it's like, oh yeah, Aaron Sorkin, I get what you're doing, and then you think about it for like a second, it's like, wait, this is stupid.
Good point, Aaron Sorkin on screen. What the West Wing am I watching right now?
You mean you have a plot point where someone looks at a clock and goes like, oh yes, time is linear.
So
that
it's like it's dumb enough for kids. It's presented like it's for adults. It's dumb for kids and boring for adults.
yeah,
Perfect.
it's Batman the animated series. It is
No,
Gracious.
Batman the animated series is way better. I would say.
it's
But I mean,
Spider-Man the
okay.
animated
So,
series.
like, what that defines what age group is this meant for? Like 19 to 20-year-old college stoners.
I would
Because
say
like
younger.
you
I'd
watch
say
it,
like
you
15 to
you watch.
24.
Okay, either way, stoners. So you watch it, and you're like, wow, like look at the ideas that's coming through this. This is blowing my mind. But then you watch it sober, and you're like,
Like there was, I remember bringing up it's a movie you hated, The Lobster. Tony hated The Lobster, and he mentioned that he hated that their writers didn't have a deft hand. Like they just kind of they weren't very subtle about things, and that's how I feel this show is. Like they try to baby you and spoon feed you these things, so they over explain everything in the most serious manner. And after a while, it's kind of just like listening to a Wikipedia article, or like NPR or something. Like there's no one has any personality. You're just reading the facts and news at you, and then some gunfights happen. That's much sum up the show. Like here's the list of things that's happening. Okay, you're caught up. Boobs and gunfights. So I don't know who the demographic is. No, it's like eight to 80.
you really only get the gunfights in like 2 episodes, though. It's like
all the episodes had great action sequences, and that's like the most positive thing I could say about them. If they weren't in an action sequence, it was old men at a table talking, and the most beige I've ever seen in my life. Everything is beige and gray and brown, and there was even a scene where Batu and his partner were in a car, and they turned off beige hair, beige shirt, beige jacket. And they didn't have any other colors in their color palette. It was distressing to look at.
I wonder if because of the futuristic setting of the show, and you both have a better artistic brain than I am for animated stuff, but like I feel like if this was made 10 years later where you could put the animation with like the computer animated backdrop, like a lot of cartoons or animated stuff does now, that would just enhance the show by a lot. So
yeah, the show is definitely a victim of its time, and it would be better off today with the technology that we have. It was made before its time.
Well, we've also already seen what that looks like from a separate animation studio, because the Cyberpunk 2077 anime is bonkers looking. Like it's done by, Studio Trigger, which is much more, it's not as realistic and just stilted in realism like production IG is, but it certainly is a lot more like in your face and vibing out. And I mean, Marlon and I watched another production IG vehicle that's recent in Uzumaki, and I don't know if, granted, Uzumaki is like its own thing, but if Ghost in the Shell was done in that sort of Uzumaki style where it's like the hybrid CG and animation, I'm not sure it would hit similar. I think you need to do a lot with the realism that you end up focusing on, and you need to use deft hand again. You need a deft hand with understanding where you can stylize something and where you can't.
Yeah, like I feel like the Ghost in the Shell movie worked because of the limits of its time. So having a hand draw everything, it looked very raw and very. It didn't like they used shortcuts like they did in the show. The show used a lot of shortcuts that just made it look cheaper than futuristic, if anything. Like I'd see a CGI car every now and then, I'm like, wow, that seems like a sort of dumb. Why did he even do that? Or the CGI robots or something. While in the '90s, they just drew that shit. They just drew every single bot on the screen, and it looked amazing.
So I guess
end sequence now would be done of CGI, and it would not look nearly as good.
Yeah. So I guess the question, Joey, is: do you feel that it stuck the landing? Because this is where all of our plot is in this last third of the season.
It's the most. No, because I like the first part better, but it's certainly better than the middle part. It's more engaging, definitely more confusing.
because it had it all backloaded. All the plot was backloaded.
Yeah, like I mean, it's like kind of like Lost, like the show Lost, where it's like so many questions, building up to a finale where it's like, oh, it's just this one answer for everything. Like,
Yep.
Well, at least you get to see, Major Kusanagi in trouble for like 3 episodes in a row. There's that.
yeah,
Yeah.
You get to see her head almost crushed.
Yeah.
and then you see her
That scene was
black.
awesome.
You don't see her head. I was gonna say you see her head blown off.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
You get to see
the
her
danger
pissed
was
off and
real.
use a giant sniper rifle, and the guy's still not dead for some reason.
Cool. That was an awesome sequence. At the same time, again, yeah, the action sequences were good. But that's really it. Even though it took 26 episodes, it still felt unearned because I did not feel attached to these characters by the time this was happening. They did the whole expansion of, oh my god, we're blowing up the base, we're blowing up their home base, they're in danger. Like, you're blowing up the command center in Power Rangers. It's like, it's a big deal. But I cared way more for the Power Rangers when it happened. I did not give a shit about these guys. They didn't even name these guys in the last few episodes, like Eye Patch Dude and the bald guy, the fake. They all got names suddenly. I thought they were just background characters. I'm supposed to give a shit about these guys. Apparently, there's 8 guys there. I didn't know their names.
No,
Like the one
they
with
say
the
their
beard
name
with
in
those
passing, like
like-
Ishikawa, Pazu, Boma, stuff like that, but they're not
Yeah.
the main cast. They're the secondary folks.
Well, even some of the main ones, because I get what you're saying, Marlon. Because like the dude with the beard, the big beard that we've seen in earlier episodes, he shows up again. He's like your presence here doesn't stick the landing because, like, again, I haven't cared about you for so many episodes. Or the who's the everyman cop again?
Togasa,
Togus.
the one with the mullet.
Where like I get it. So they basically sequester him off to the side, and then you forget about him for like 4 episodes because he's supposed to be just like they wanted to shield him from the whole situation because he's not cybernetic. But
Yeah.
then like he comes at the end and was like, oh, well, this is the reason why we did it. It's like it's tough to make me care because like he's been away for so long. I'm like, how were you affected? Oh, it sounds like your life was so tough.
Togasa, you missed a whole lot of cop murdering.
And they were so cheerful about it in the end. We saw these dreadful situations, people getting shot up and arrested, and then they grab Togus and bring him to this room, and they're like, haha, look at this guy. He was going to go to this place by himself and shoot this guy. And they're just all laughing at him like, no, I understand Togus at this point. He thought you were dead. He thought you were dead or worse. There's nothing funny about this.
Or yeah, like they're supposed to believe like Aramaki. Now I'm pointing out plot holes all the time, but like, oh,
They're
because
just popping up in your head now, yeah.
we have to sacrifice your entire unit. Why do we have to now? I have to rebuild this from scratch. So you're led to believe for 3 episodes that he did, in fact, sacrifice the entire unit. But in the last episode, like, oh, it's all a ruse. He's just playing 4D chess, and he actually knows.
They
Ahead
made
of
an
time.
even more secret unit afterwards. So there's still a secret unit. It's more secret than before.
It is that part that specifically made me fall off because of the times that we're living in. It's like, no, sorry, like if the fascist government says, "Oh no, we'll catch you on the down low. We just need to betray you this one time." They're just going to betray you.
Hey, precedents matter. I agree.
And it's that where I would end up rewriting this if like you viewed it with a modern lens, where probably you would need to have Section 9 turn radical if you really wanted to keep your competence porn. You would basically need to turn it into The Boys is really what you would need to do by the end of it.
For all the crazy events that happened, there were no real repercussions in the end. Everyone's still alive. No one's in prison. They have a more secret group.
Well, no, because
It's like everyone got to have their cake and eat it.
there are repercussions for the bad guys. So, like, the CEO is
Yeah,
dead.
the bad guy.
They're dead.
So, I guess, is the laughing man a bad guy? That's the question you can come up with later. But, like,
Not really. He turned out to be okay, and then they let him go. So the government... did anything really happen to the government guys?
No, the prime minister is still the prime minister. Like, The entire reason why he ends up betraying Section 9 is because, oh yeah, there's this one high-end dude in the party that we can't betray right now. But I want to serve you this guy, but I can't do it until after the election. So until the election, I need to destroy you.
So the only real loss here were the Tachikomas, who were the only ones that had no personality, so I felt bad for them. Everyone else got to live. The Tachikomas are dead. At least they got to experience death like they wanted. Everyone else is fine.
I mean, I'm definitely fine with the politicians are evil message. But I do get like but the prime minister is not. No, I guess he's bad.
Yeah.
The prime minister is bad, but he is too big to fail, is what I would say.
He's a political amp. He's purely political.
Because Section 9 does not want to destabilize all of Japan.
So we would say, like you guys said, The Boys. I haven't seen The Boys, so they should, if you rewrite the show, they should operate like the Men in Black. Like nobody knows about us, but we're actually the one protecting you behind the scenes.
I thought that's what they were doing before, but now they're just doing that again. Essentially, they all lived, and now they just made another secret group.
But like, how are they still? Because the new, like, they showed all over Japan, like that they are bad. Like there was news all over for the prior episodes of how Section 9 is the ones responsible for this and blah 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 blah.
Well, like, yeah, they were secret before, so they're just secret again. They're not really affected. Except maybe for Togusa's family, but I guess just put them in witness protection and he's good. They didn't really touch on that. They just forgot he had a family for a moment.
The part of the show I hated the most. Sadly, the part I hated the most was when they were making fun of Bato at the end. Like, oh, you were crying over the major being shot. No, should I replay it? And he's like, no, don't you bastard. I'm going to put you in a headlock like a... Like, okay,
I just made it like it had no repercussions. Like even they were laughing like, haha, you thought this was real. Like they were laughing at the audience for thinking this was real. Like, how you sure got me. Yes. For being emotionally invested in your characters. Even though I really wasn't, because they're so freaking dull. They have no personalities. None of them. They're all the stoic one. Everyone's the stoic one.
If you major question, and that's not a pun, but it's a very good pun when you think about it. Should they have killed Kusanagi when they have her assassinated at the airport? Should they have just gone, no, this character's dead now?
No.
They should have killed Togusa. They should have killed.
You don't want to kill Togusa. He's your audience stand-in. You don't want to kill your audience stand-in.
Just keep the two from the movie. You got Bato and you got the Major. That's really all you need. They could have killed the chief.
I mean,
they could have gotten a new chief. They could have killed any of the side characters. They didn't even kill the side characters. I don't remember their names, but they're all alive. So nothing happened.
They could have killed. I mean, kill Aramaki. Kill the head of the department.
Yeah.
Make him kind of like a martyr for the department.
Professor Xavier dies all the time. Kill the Professor Xavier.
Because that's how you kind of make him infallible, right? If he dies for the cause and he doesn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
The Major
kill their Zordon.
Can't kill because the Major is the one who's always locked in, right? Or always logged in. So
like 10 bodies.
In theory, making her anybody is cool. Like that seems like the main premise of the show.
She's your butcher. You just can't get rid of him, no matter how much you try.
Kinda like she's like a combination of the. I guess I haven't seen The Boys, so
yeah.
but like Mystique in a weird way.
Major so, like, just comes in and calls everyone cunts. as I make notes on how to rewrite Ghost in the show.
Make the characters likable. How do you have 26 episodes of character development and the characters don't feel developed? I don't understand how that happens. Except maybe Togusa. Togusa goes for an entire arc this one. The Tachikomas go for an entire arc. Batu not so much, and then the Major not so much. They start and end the show kind of the same. Give them Aramaki. It feels like things happened to them, but those events didn't change them at all.
I think the one thing this show has against it too is that it's too pessimistic. for its own
Oh,
good.
it's very cynical.
Because it's
Except
like,
for Laughing Man.
I get, like, to me, you have to choose one, right? If you're going to be Section 9, either your internal affairs and you're going after the corrupt in your own organization or, like, going after the government itself, or you're this organization where you show, like, hey, government does a service for people and we're going after corporations because they're inherently evil. But once you make it both, it strains credibility.
It's just Section 9 against the world.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
God help us if they destroy Section 9. Oh, wait, Section 9's fine. You know, the worst thing happened, and they're still okay.
But
And
I
the
do
bad guy
agree.
went to jail.
Yeah, Marwin, I do agree that they didn't given you enough of the other side characters. That is a failing of the show. I think that there are definitely some of those filler episodes where they could have easily had, like, oh, we're going to follow Sniper Guy for this one, or we're going to follow Pazu and Boma, who are kind of the more on-the-ground, street-smart guys. And Ishikawa, the bearded guy, is just like their hacker dude, so I don't know, you can give him a hacker episode, I guess.
He hacked things.
Well, because you both called this show competence porn, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, because they're all really good at doing their jobs. So does that mean the filler episodes almost hurt this show? Because you get all the filler episodes really are is just like watching these guys or this team do their job, essentially. Like, here's this case, let's solve it. Here's this case, let's solve it. And all of a sudden you get the Laughing Man episodes where for a while it's like it seems like they're in way over their head, and then it's because of this because you have to try to outsmart them from what you've established they were before.
Yeah.
But it becomes so far-fetched. Like, it's almost like the filler episodes, because you expect these people to be so good at their jobs that, I don't know, like, you have to, like, just raise the bar on what is, like, believable almost.
I don't necessarily think that the filler detracts from the main story, because if you look at other competence porn like Star Trek, the purpose of your bottle episodes, where you just have a singular plot that gets resolved in that same episode, the purpose of that is to show what your characters are capable of, and then your bigger thing is supposed to be something that does seem insurmountable. Like in Star Trek The Next Generation, there is a certain level of challenge that comes from them just going on a planet and us not being able to communicate with the alien species here. But on the other hand, we have the Dominion War or something like that. I think that's where that, like, is kind of par for the course for this sort of thing. So I don't think that necessarily hurts it. But the overall issue is that they do not take the time in doing that to have you focus on other characters other than essentially your big three. And that's Kusanagi, Togasa, and Bato.
I'd say 4, because I'd add Aramaki in there too.
Yeah, because he gets 3 episodes focused on him.
Yeah. Yeah, occasionally Aramaki. But yeah, my issue with the show is, of course, being a victim of its time, and that it can be aired in any order, so the characters don't get to really have any development. Because that would mean it would have to, like, leak over into the next episode. So instead you have, like, the Bato episode where something crazy happens and it goes on this whole emotional roller coaster, and the next episode it's like, it didn't even happen. Then it's changed and then it's affected, and we just over it already, and we've just moved on. And it happens to everybody, so no one changes from start to finish, especially the Major. The Major doesn't really go for anything, and her episode just kind of, she does a job, and then she went home. The end. Credits roll. And that's not very engaging. You're just kind of watching someone clock in and clock out.
Yeah, in rewatching this first season, and I say this as someone who's going to give this show a 6, like that it's exemplary for the genre. That
I am not.
The Major has 2 instances in this entire first season where she's an interesting character. It's where she almost gets her head crushed, she gets pissed off, and she fires at the robot at point blank range with the giant giant
so
sniper
cool.
rifle. And
So-
and the other one is God, I forget what it is.
Is it a movie theater thing when she like cried for a moment
No,
and then just like
it's
over it?
God, this is bothering me now.
This is the last episode where she tells the laughing man he's an idiot.
Yes, that is probably it.
I wouldn't even say that because even that's totally in character for her. It's like, nope, I'm still right and you're still wrong. That's her whole thing. I'm right about this too. I'm like, okay, I guess the major's right. It's the major, so she's right.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
it's
really. Do you?
oh
does
no,
anybody
it's
else have-
not where it's not that. It's when she just wants to move on when the one drug cop is acting like her doctor to do the body swap. And the doctor's like, "Oh, you don't want this like flirtatious banter?" And she's like, "No, I just want to get this done."
It's just a no nonsense character and just it doesn't stop.
Well, like I feel like she's the young, like being groomed version of Aramaki, right?
Yeah.
Because you
It's definitely
establish
Aramaki and a girl bot.
like one is just as brilliant as the other. One is usually has their instincts are just as right as the others. And I mean that's why
Both of
they
their
follow
personalities are just their job.
Mm-hmm. It's like watching Jedi or Jedi and Padawan, Master and Padawan, kind of like that.
Yeah. But the show kind of feels like, what will you do if your job burns down? I'll just keep working anyway. Like, why? Why don't you just get another job?
They literally do that in this.
Got better jobs. Just end the show. You have no reason to keep doing this. I guess they just love justice so much.
They love they love Section 9.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I know anyone who loves their jobs that much. Maybe it's a Japanese thing. I don't know. It's honor. Like the chief was counting on us to come back together and formulate his plan. Like, was he? Or could he just move on and go hang out with your family? One of you has a daughter. Go be with your daughter. You don't have to do this for a living. It's not necessary. You were shot. You don't have to keep doing this.
So, Joey, because I already asked this to Marlon before the episode, do you feel that Section 9 was kind of below itself and its ultimate physical nemesis in this show, where it's just a bunch of dirty drug cops?
No, because you have to establish the enemy as like a credible threat and almost like an overwhelming threat. So that part, and because you establish them as like they're pure the good guys and there's all this around them because it's got that pessimistic setting for the show where everything around them is bad. So in that sense, you have to make the enemy almost overarching and overbearing and big.
I do like how laughably evil the evil drug cops are. Like they act like supervillains.
I do
They're
like
smirking in their mugshot. Yeah, those guys are evil, all right.
What do you like the one doctor that released the information to the laughing man about what's the disease called again? I'm sorry.
Cyberbrain sclerosis.
Cyberbrain sclerosis. And they're like, wait, if you had this all along, why did you just come to me? He's like, because I want to be cured. I don't want to be dying from this thing. It's like, no, but you got to think money. Oh. Yeah, so the CEO is laughably evil.
But what about money?
The real villain should have been that one CEO who turned himself into a tiny robot because he sold all of his organs. Talks with a Texas accent.
We had so many more interesting characters than who the actual bad guys were, and it's kind of disappointing for that reason.
What was the filler episode that started this the third part of what we've watched. It was the
Oh
first
no, when he
episode.
kidnapped the girls.
Yeah,
and it was
the one. Aren't they like selling organs or something like that?
Yeah.
It's completely
And then,
forgettable episode. Like I finished it and it was like, what the hell happened there? It's like a void.
It's just a time void. That's how I would describe the show, a time void. What did I just watch?
Hey, it's still better than having watched the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight.
It is. It absolutely is.
I am not
And I
one of
still
those
tell-
60 billion households, thank God.
You don't like seeing Mike Tyson literally get one punch that's good in and then get in a clinch to be told, no, you need to get paid, so don't punch me that hard again, and then it turned into nothing?
I didn't,
Like, he
I
can
didn't
do this
hear about
right
that.
now. I need this.
I was gonna say, isn't
Swing
that
at his glove like I could eat this guy.
Mike Tyson even like taps him on the shoulder after that clinch, like, yes, I promise I will not punch you anymore.
I remember them saying, like, dude, this guy can't box, because if you can't knock out a guy who is 30 years older than you,
Yeah.
I
And-
know Mike
I know
Tyson,
people
we
going
don't
on
want to
about Mike
remember
Tyson's
Mike
age
Tyson
and
for
all,
being
but-
better than what he was, but like Mike
can
Tyson
have some
realistically
heroes.
is not a top 10 heavyweight of all time. Like it's hard. Like he was dominant in his time, but you can't think of like a major victory over like a truly Hall of Fame fighter that you can think of.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas, and there's your stain.
And then bit Evander Holyfield's ear off.
Yeah. And was defeated by Holyfield anyway, so his head is defeats. The Logan Paul coming in at the tail end of things, like what did you hope to accomplish here? What were you looking for?
That's what I said. I was like, he's like, oh, is Jake Paul better than Logan Paul? I'm like, I don't know. At least Logan Paul will do a job.
But the thing that you do need to give that event, though, is the first fight is hilarious because it's a content creator against like just a regular boxer, and the announcers are just constantly going like, "Oh, this guy's cardio is a problem." And it's like he's just very clearly outboxing him the entire time. The second fight is the second fight legitimately does turn into a good fight between Barrios and Ramos, I think. And the third fight is a women's fight where one fighter is very clearly dominating and the other fighter that ends up winning uses an entirely headbutt-based offense.
Alright, cool. I didn't watch that.
Yay. Board of Kings. God damn it, boxing. Why does like every major boxing event set the sport further back?
Because boxing has been a sideshow since at least 2007.
Yeah.
The Mayweather De La Hoya fight just put the last nails in the coffin of boxing as a sport.
At least wrestling knows what it is. Boxing is still trying to be taken seriously. Like, come on. We know that.
60 million households watch the Jake Paul Mike Tyson. Like when boxing wants to get viewers, it can do it.
I drag it out Mike Tyson influencer. Otherwise, I don't know who the champion is, and I don't care.
I've not
the 90s anymore.
The rumor that Jake Paul is calling out Canelo Alvarez, please God, like, okay.
Can he fight like Manny Pacquiao or someone I care? Can he fight Floyd Mayweather?
No, fight Alvarez.
Logan
Alvarez
Paul
is
fought
taller,
Floyd
but it's
Mayweather, and
Alvarez.
Mayweather knocked him out and then held his ass up to keep him from
Oh,
falling.
and the Logan Paul. Yeah.
Can we do it again? Can we just run that back?
But anyway,
No,
we're
I
talking
want-
about Ghost
I
in
want
the Shell.
Alvarez to come in, knock out second round. That's what I want. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Tony.
No, it's fine. Like
Some
that,
disappointing things.
just turn into fantasy bookers where we just talk about everything.
We're technically the riff tracks of fantasy bookers, or the riff tracks of MST3K fantasy bookers. Right now. It's just the same shit. Everything is
Oh my
riff
God.
tracks. This is Mystery Science Theater.
So, eh, Marlon, I'm going to challenge you. So, you say you didn't connect with any of the characters. So even though they spend so much time on Togasa and Bato being buddy cops, just nothing.
Nothing. Nothing. And even
They didn't put them together
like,
at the end of the freaking show. It's Bato going
Yeah.
off by his goddamn self.
I mean, they quipped occasionally, but it wasn't that good. Like, they shared a few laughs, a few jokes, but no, I don't. This wasn't exactly the cast of Firefly over here. There's nothing really to connect to. They don't really change that much. I mean, after everything Togusa experienced from, the autism child labor factory or whatever that was, to, the end here, he didn't really feel like he changed all that much or went on a journey. It feels like things happened to him, but he didn't change as a character. He didn't go like, I hate cybernetics. It's, now I love cybernetics. I understand. Like, there was no character arc. It was just, I wouldn't even call it a straight line. He stayed in the same place. So, there was nothing there to really connect with. There's nothing three-dimensional about him. None of them have these features that make me go, all right, cool, I could relate to this guy. Or cool, I would totally watch this guy on his own show or an action figure. I love Wash from Firefly. That's a three-dimensional character, or Jane. And that show just had like 12, 13 episodes to get those characters across. This had 26, and I couldn't care less about
Well,
it.
technically, it has the same amount of time because it has 13 episodes and each is an hour long. This has 26 episodes, each is 30 minutes long.
Yeah, just nothing connected. Like, not even that Toku's particularly a bland character. It's just that we're really are just watching these guys clock in, do their jobs, and then the episode ends. So I don't care.
I mean this as a genuine question to you, Marlon.
Mm-hmm.
What anime? Like you established Firefly as the example. What is an anime where you really felt a character connection?
Samurai Champloo. Okay. Samurai Champloo. I know it's unfair. Cowboy Bebop. Trigun. There's many animes from that era. Hell, even Inuyasha. I'm not even a big Inuyasha fan, but even now, and I can see like there's some huge character arcs there. Tenchi Muyo. But this came out at this time, and it's like this is who you're competing with, Star, and you're not bringing it. You're not bringing these characters. Even Gundam Wing, you could pick your favorite. They all have their own individual personality. My favorite is Duo. He had Death Sight. He's amazing. He's the badass. He's the cocky one. They were like Power Rangers that way. This is like you're the stoic one, and the Major's the stoic one, and Blunt's the stoic one, and this is the stoic one that tells a joke occasionally. Like you're all stoics. And if you're not watching the TV and you just hear them talk, you kind of blur into the same voice after a while. It's the same cadence. Like they're all just reading off a script in a booth and then going home.
I'll give you that's true. Shampoo and Bebop are the main ones. Gundam I didn't get too attached to, and the rest of them sadly I don't.
Well, you didn't see Gundam Wing. And
I guess.
I will fight Marlon over Gundam Wing being better than this because Gundam Wing is fucking trash.
I wouldn't say it's better than this, but the characters are better. Like, the characters are better and the story's shittier, and I would even say the same for Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer has very three-dimensional characters. The story may not be as good, but these characters stick out in your brain. You know who Zenitsu is.
I would actually agree to that. Demon Slayer, the characters are more. I can empathize with the characters more in Demon Slayer.
I can empathize with the characters in Demon Slayer, but I cannot say that they are more complex.
Definitely not more complex.
They're just bigger characters, they're larger than life characters. While this one, like, while the complexity is there, it's like, well, that's nice. Good for you, I guess. I still want to hang out if you're still dull as a bag of rocks. Like, there's nothing there to work with. They're just very dry people.
You mean they're government
personalities? They're government employees. It's a bureaucrat show. It's anime NCIS, and I've mentioned it's just a police procedural in animated form. So it already alienates kids who are supposed to be the demographic, and the adults you want to attract are not watching this. So you just end up college stoners, just that middle ground. And even that, I was only reading a comic book while I watched the show, and then I would poke my head up during action sequences. And now, as an adult watching this without comic books, without books in front of me, paying full attention, I can happily say I didn't miss anything. I didn't miss much. I could have been reading this whole time, and it's like, oh, cool, action sequence, and then back to the book. Because they're just going to over-explain everything in your ears anyway in the same monotonous tone, and you will still catch everything that's going on. You're not going to miss anything on this show.
What
And
would you
Denise is a
rather
bit of
watch,
character knowledge, these guys.
Tony, would you rather watch this show or any Christopher Nolan movie?
There are certain Christopher Nolan movies that I would rather watch this over. I would rather watch this over Tenet. I would rather watch this over, yeah, I'd watch this over Dunkirk. I didn't really like Dunkirk.
Yeah, I agree. I tried Dunkirk a few times. You're like, no, it didn't connect.
I'd rather watch this over Insomnia. I'd rather watch.
I don't blame you for that one. That's a rough watch.
I never saw Tenet, so I can't say much about Tenet.
I like Tenet.
I'd rather watch this over Oppenheimer. Actually, I would say.
That's true. Oppenheimer is overrated. There's some great performances in there, but it's another very dry.
In fact, you want to like that's like kind of what this is like, oh well, like where we talked about after we saw Tony, like when you see Rami Malek's character come back to testify, and you're like, this doesn't land because I saw you for 2 seconds, however long ago. That's how like when Marlon's complaining about the side characters coming back at the end of the show, like now I'm supposed to care, like
I can tell you that in season 2, like Pazu and Boma, you do not get more information about them. They just continue to be the two guys who are in a car on occasion.
Dude, Alpha 5 and Power Rangers has more character development than these guys.
Do you think that Section 9 is better facing the threat that they would be facing in season 2, which is they're facing a potential terror threat, like a terrorist organization called the Individual 11, and that just leads to an Airheads like the Lone Rangers joke, but please do not make that joke. And they're also facing the American Empire kind of making a shadow play to take over the Japanese government. Do you think that works better?
Do they do the same thing? That's what it sounds like. It sounds like, okay, we gotta fight a terrorist organization, but actually, it goes way bigger.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
And that's needlessly complex. And we're right back to where we started.
Joey, it's like explain, oh, for this Demon Slayer season, we are watching them fight a demon. They're not going to make cakes this season. They're only going to make cakes for like 2 episodes, and then they're going to go to the main plot.
But I feel like I know what to expect from it, though. It's not like we're going to see like a major person from the major's past comes back to haunt her or anything like that. It's going to be, no, the major goes to work, and she goes down the list, like, all right, the bad guy's going to be here, he's going to be here. All right, let's go, work team. And then they go do the thing, and then they win. That's what's going to happen. They clock in, they make a task list, and they go for the task list, and then they win. That's it.
It turns out that all the Major's ditzy lesbian girlfriends were in on it the entire time.
Add a traitor or something. Have someone betray the team. Something interesting happen. Nothing interesting happens, and when they do, they just retcon all of it. Everyone is just fine. The Major is alive. Not just alive, she has the same body. There's an opportunity to change her body, and they ask her to, and it's like, yeah, I like this one. Okay. So nothing changes.
I feel bad because I've spent most of this hour shitting on this show for what it is. I respect this show for what it was trying to say ahead of its time. It's like from its setting, it's like an ahead of its time Black Mirror episode. It's just it just takes itself way too seriously later on.
Yeah, and it could have been that. If you love police procedurals, this is the show for you. The problem is, I hate police procedurals. This is just wasted on me. Like, you love CSI? Nope. Well, here's CSI, anime form from the future. Right, I didn't ask for this, but here I am watching it. It certainly wasn't an appeal of the Cyberpunk games. I didn't go to the Cyberpunk games for police procedural, and even the Cyberpunk anime. not a police procedural. You can do cyberpunk without the whole police boring bit, and just go straight to the interesting part. Instead, they kind of touch on the interesting things, and we go back to these boring characters being boring. So it's
A better
like
example is like people that played Grand Theft Auto 3 back in the day just to like basically be a taxi cab driver.
yeah.
Like, oh, let me do more taxi cab missions. Like, why? It's so dumb.
I
You
am
have a whole universe here. You can do anything you want. You just gotta work and doing a job.
I am half debating on crossing Psychopaths off the list of like potential shows that we should watch in the future, just because that's another cyberpunk police procedural also done by Production IG. But
God damn it.
I'm still penciling it in because at least the
You wanna
movie
break
is interesting.
Marlin, that's why.
Yes, I hate Marlin. That's no. When the main thing that Psychopaths has going for it is the concept is basically a combination of this in Minority Report, where we have figured out that we can actively profile someone's mental health, and when someone is like, we're getting this signal off their brain, they're potentially going to do a crime, and therefore we have our like psycho cops to go and take them down. And the entire thing is like, oh, the system is actually broken because the main villain is able to completely negate the system. It's interesting. It's more interesting than I explain it, but it's not something that we'd be watching for a while, because if we return to police procedurals, we just watch season 2 of this, to be honest.
Yeah.
But we won't watch season 2 for a while. For Marlin's sanity, if anything.
Thank you. If anything, this made me appreciate the movie even more, because it's at least this in small doses. Like, you get great concepts and great ideas, and they touch on those, and they touch on a lot of them in a short amount of time, but the characters are kind of used as just a tool to push those ideas around. So you're always stuck with them for 90 minutes. Here, you get 26 episodes of these guys, and they really start wearing on you. Like, it's the same monotonous people, the same monotonous voices, and you get to see all these cool ideas that kind of go racing by your car window, but you don't really get to really stick on any of them. And it's what's with the movie theater thing? The dude's brain in the box, like things like that. Really interesting. Tachikomas are great, and they're just like, roof up there, it's gone. Now we're back to the major and just doing her job.
The Tachicomas, but I do like the idea, like some of the things, like the dude that just like turned himself into a robot because he was mad at his parents because they never like.
Wasn't the show about him? It's interesting.
Like in that we got in the first section of the show, and yeah,
it almost feels like it's their job to stop anything interesting from happening. And then, something interesting will happen, and then here comes section 9 to stop it from happening. Like, oh, that almost got interesting for a second there. Thank God we were here to stop it. We're back to boring status quo. Yay! Almost cool.
Well, next month on Animesplaining, we watch season 1 of ABC's The Rookie, starring Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, at least it has Nathan Fillion. Stop listing better shows.
The Rookie is not very good. Anyway, scores. So we use the 7-star system here. 1 is insulting to my intelligence. 2 is bad, but I guess there are some good things in it. 3 is effectively I did not feel robbed. It's like I liked it. I did not feel insulted by it, that sort of thing. 4 is I liked it, but there are some glaring problems. 5 is good for the genre. 6 is exemplary for the genre. And 7, the rare 7, is so good it has redefined what good is. So Marlon, what do you give?
It's a 3.
I did not feel robbed by it.
It was very pretty to look. It was occasionally pretty to look at. The action scenes were pretty to look at. There, I found it.
I guess I'll fit the flavor. You did not feel civil forfeiture for this.
Yeah. Like it's decent background noise. It's inoffensive background. Like you hear some gunfire, start looking at the screen. Oh shit, that fight seems amazing. Oh, fight scene's over. All right, back to my book or whatever it is I'm searching on the internet. Just hearing it at the corner of my ears. I don't need to actually watch this.
And Joey, what do you give it at the end of the day? Season 1.
It's hard because I do think this is decent for the genre compared to what we've certainly watched before, and I respect it for what it's trying to say, but I can't give it above a 4 because it doesn't stick at the end. Like it just it goes way beyond its means. I don't feel I would rate it higher than a 3, but because again I respect what it's trying to do, but like in the end I probably really feel the same way about it as Marlon did.
Yep.
So I'd say a 4 at the highest.
Yep. And I give this a 6 because this has that good explainium to it. It's sometimes
your shit.
Sometimes you just like explainium and you just go with it.
Why don't you like Dune then?
Because that's the bad explainium.
Bang my head against the table.
I can say Dune is pretty.
It's one thing to have something explained to you. It's another thing to have it explained to you and you to not feel like it's really stupid. In Dune, it feels really stupid.
We've just explained the whole ending.
So, Joey, you have a decision to make. We have holidays are coming up. Normally, we have less time. We generally will still want to put something out for the month of December. So, I have options. One is a movie. One is a limited series, and the other is just something involving winter, but it's also 26 episodes. So you'd be locked in for a season across three episodes of this show one more time. For the movie, it is Jinro the Wolf Brigade. We're sticking with fascism as a theme. You can watch a trailer for it.
No relation to the news cycle.
It is depressing. It is sad. It is something where people really like the design of the armor that the cops wear, but it is something where the cops are fascists and the world is generally really bad. The second option is going to be Mobile Suit Gundam Requiem for Vengeance on Netflix. It is 6 episodes. It is CG. It is the war, the Federation war on the Zeon side. So it's basically Mobile Suit Gundam, the 08th MS team, except switched. Just we're the Zeons now. We're the
baddies.
We're the space Nazis. And the last one is another one from the late 90s, early 2000s. It has a Yoko Kanno soundtrack, much like this one does. But it is Wolf's Rain. It's a fantasy, like kind of fantasy sci-fi type thing. It is about how all wolves are extinct, but the last remaining wolves can turn into humans. There's magic involved. There are people who turn into flowers. It's wacky.
That's why I didn't watch that one. Okay, like that sounds familiar, but like something on Toonami I just couldn't be bothered with. So it sounds like.
Do we need a dose of wacky, or do we need a dose?
We need a dose of wacky. After this, we need something wacky.
Yeah,
the wackiest thing on the show is Togusa.
I said Wolf's Rain almost entirely because it's like more on the fantasy side, and I tried to find various anime that were like just full on fantasy. One was Delicious in Dungeon, which is interesting, but I don't think you would like it. It's also 26 episodes, and it's something where I don't think that going from Ghost in the Shell to that, I think there's like a whiplash effect that you would get, Joey. But everything else that's fantasy is linked with like video game logic. It's linked with like, oh, I have maximized my stats in the other world in defense, so nothing can hit me, and it fucking sucks. Like, But if you find one of those that you like, we can absolutely watch it. I hear good things about Freyren, but Freyren I don't think is done yet, so that's on the docket.
Yeah, I'd agree with Mario. Maybe give us the dose of wacky. I know it'll be the next 3 episodes because it's 26 episodes, but
Okie doke. We'll do Wolf's Rain then. So that is what we will do next month. We will do the standard thing here where we'll do 9 episodes, then 8 at the end. But yeah, we'll do Wolf's Rain. You'll have some Joey.
Please change the story most of the episodes.
You may like the theme song. It is in English, so there is that.
The other ones are in English. The end theme song of Ghost in the Shell is in English.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I was singing it.
The bottom's like
the
Japanese.
best thing about this show, I mean, the good and the bad of the show. The bad is the language translation thing because there's the one. Sadly, it made me laugh. It was like, you gotta go autistic on him. Like, oh boy.
That's every time. Autistic mode.
It's a mode. Okay.
Do that.
And then but then because of the ending theme song, and Brooklyn has to work at her math, like she has to have a math tutor. So I was singing that to her like all morning one day, just driving her insane. That was the best part. Brooklyn's gotta be better at math. So better at math. So Uncle Tony can know how to piss her off next time.
I'll bring up that song on YouTube.
Oh, it is great. Daddy, stop it!
Trigger memory that song.
Well, in this in Wolf's Rain, you get like a opening theme that sounds vaguely like a seal song sung by a white guy. So you have to look forward to.
Go straight back down to Rick Astley Central.
Can't wait.
Okay, that is Animesplaining from us. I'm going to hit the stop streaming button, and we will see you in December.